Um, so I started working on the boomerang. It's a little hard to see, but I tested it out to see if it did anything yet, and it just kind of started going crazy, and I don't know what to do because it's gonna crash the entire game. Um, okay, I got the code ready to paste if it gets too bad, but we're just gonna admire this for the time being. Oh my god! Guess I didn't have to worry about anything. What in the world? That looks amazing! Okay, so the prismarine shards used to be the texture for the boomerang. Just thought I'd let you guys know. What if I do it again? Whoa! It moves? That's okay, so it doesn't. That is such a cool little design. Wow. I didn't realize how much of this I actually had done, technically. Really likes giving me two boomerangs. I mean, it does follow the path. How much of this do I even need to finish, honestly? The only thing that's having an issue is the fact that there's multiple of them, but they follow the correct path. Alright, well, they're all gone. Let's see if it does the thing again. Oh, what? Oh, no! Man, it was so cool the first time, though. Because, like, it just spammed them constantly for a second. I wish I got the beginning part. Yes! I got. Oh, God! I got it to work again. That's so weird. Well, that was an interesting intro, but we're basically going to be starting to work on this boomerang and making it all work, because I finally finished what I can do in Lon Lon Ranch for the time being. So for now, we're done at Lon Lon Ranch, and now we're moving on to the Zora type areas. But I'm kind of burnt out on stuff like that because I was working at Lon Lon Ranch for so long, and that there was a lot of problems that happened. So I thought it would be more fun to just work on an item. Alright, let's see if I can explain some of this. So these 3 lines of code are the things that are currently working, and then this is also currently going on. This is the stuff that teleports all the boomerangs to the certain places. So this is like it being activated and then not being activated. So it starts here, goes down until it has a tick of 54, and then it pretty much does all this stuff. So this first part right here is testing for if I use the carrot on a stick / boomerang. If I am holding the boomerang, then summon the armor stand that spins around. Which explains why there were like multiple of them doing that weird thing, because it wasn't getting rid of the boomerang. Second line of code is executing as the boomerang if it is there. If not, this doesn't run. This also tests for if I have used the item, and if I am still selecting the boomerang. Then it adds the tag. Then finally, this is the thing that calls this file right here. If I have the tag throw boomerang, then it calls this function. And then at the end of this function, it gets rid of all that stuff that it adds here at the end, like this tag and the armor stand. So first on our list, let's change the armor stand so it's actually holding the boomerang and not a prismarine shard. Alright, let's see if I got this working. Oh wait. Sometimes I forget they have to type reload to change things, otherwise it doesn't realize it. Looks good. Oh, that was one thing I needed to fix. Yeah, because it follows you the whole time. So it's a little weird if it goes wherever you want. Okay, so our main problem is that when we throw the boomerang, it follows wherever the player is looking instead of following a certain path after being thrown. Now we're going to ignore that problem for a little bit because I want to add another thing before I forget, which is that once it does finish its whole path and gets to this point where the player would normally have been, if the player is not there, I want it to continue flying around toward where the player is at. And then once the boomerang is directly over the player, then it'll run all these commands. So that's what we're going to do first. Another good thing about this is the fact that if the player manages to catch up to where the boomerang is going on the path, it'll instantly give the boomerang back to the player from wherever it is at. Also, we do still need to have a time thing on here because if as soon as we throw the boomerang, it is technically right where we're at. So basically it would give it back to us instantly if we don't wait a little bit. Alright, let's see if it works. Not quite. Oh, I think I know what's wrong. All we need to do is specify that it is at the player, not the boomerang, and then test for if the boomerang is a distance of 1, not the player. Alright, now it should work. Let's try it out. Yep, I think it worked. It looked like it was a little bit closer to us than expected, but I think that's just kind of lag type issues. Yeah, it looks like it's getting right to us and then going into our inventory. Now, once we have it on a certain path and it's not following us all the time, then it'll start flying towards us at the end, which is what we're going to work on next. Alright, I was thinking how I was going to go about fixing this big problem, because I honestly had no idea how to do this at first, but I think I've come up with an idea, which is as soon as the boomerang has been thrown, I will summon an armor stand that has the exact same characteristics as the player, like where it's looking and what direction it's facing, and then do that for this armor stand instead of the player. And then once it gets to this point, it'll destroy the armor stand and then start flying towards the player. The only downside I see with this is the fact that it'll have an armor stand that's setting wherever you were at, and if you shot a slingshot in that general direction, it would hit the armor stand and not the wall that you were aiming for. However, I don't think you'll be shooting a slingshot at the same time that you're throwing a boomerang, so we should be fine. A better example would be a sword, though, like if you're fighting an enemy. Not sure. We'll see how annoying it is, I guess. So it turns out it's actually a pretty simple, idea for, figuring out where the armor stand should be rotated. So first we have this bit of new code, which is the same thing as the first, where it summons the first armor stand, but now we have another one that's called Boomerang Start. And then instead of having it directed at the player, it is at the Boomerang Start armor stand. So now all this teleporting is relative to the armor stand, not the player. And then after the Boomerang Start armor stand has been summoned, it then teleports from 1 to 2 to where the player is looking. And that's how the rotation works. It's actually really simple. You just teleport it exactly to where the player is at. Time to see if it works. Alright, so the hope here is that we throw the boomerang, it summons an armor stand looking where we're looking, and then the boomerang, once it is finished, will keep flying at the armor stand, and once we walk up to the armor stand, it'll get rid of the boomerang. Alright, so it already doesn't look like it's facing the right way, but it did look like the boomerang still went the right way. Huh. And we also need something to kill the armor stand afterwards. Visibly, it's not showing that the armor stand's rotated where we are, but it is still doing everything correctly, so that's good. Oh, that time it rotated. Okay. So it's just a weird visual glitch, I guess. Which there are a lot with armor stands, but we won't go into that. But yeah, as I was afraid of, it will be in the way if you're, in combat. We'll make the armor stand visible, but that still doesn't get rid of its hitbox that it has. So, oh well. Also, apparently if you get rid of the armor stand, it does not work. Alright, so I made the armor stand invisible, and I added this extra code, which is once the lifetime of the armor stand, or actually whenever the armor stand is at a distance of 1 from that Boomerang Start armor stand, it'll kill that Boomerang Start armor stand. And then after that, once lifetime is 53 or greater, it starts facing the player and teleporting towards it, which I don't know how it's going to work because it's constantly rotating, and I don't know how that's visibly going to look, I guess. Also, I probably will increase this for the speed. I just want to see how it actually looks visually, rotating-wise, before I actually increase the speed of it. Alright, this is basically the moment of truth. Time to find out if it follows us. Does not look like it. Let's check if the armor stand is still there. I do not see a second armor stand, so it did kill the first one. Also, apparently if you get rid of the armor stand, it does not work. And it won't give it back to us. Very strange. That threw automatically. What the heck? Let's see if that fixed it. No, it did not. I don't know what's going on. Dual boomerang! I see the problem. So when it's doing this for the function that creates this file to start activating, it needs to know that there's an armor stand named Boomerang Start. And once it kills that, this thing no longer works. So basically, anything that I want to have happen after this armor stand is killed, it needs to go outside of that. The main one being this one, which teleports it after its time has been past 52. So yeah, we'll put this at 52. Looks like I'm going to have to make another file just because I don't want all of this to also be in the file that's always running, because this stuff doesn't always need to be ran. So we're going to make another file called caps lock, boomerang2.mc function, and just paste all this in there. And then we can do the same thing for that other thing that we were technically going to put in here, and just put it in here instead. Alright, so we have boomerang 1 and 2, and now to make it so that it's connected, this main loop is connected to boomerang 2, execute as nearest entity, type equals boomerang, I don't think it matters. Just in case, we'll just do it as the player run function of time, items, and boomerang 2. Alright, that should fix it. Let's test it out finally. I hope this works as the sunset happens. Ugh. Oh, well, that wasn't a complete failure. At least I can get the boomerang back now. But it is still not teleporting towards me. So I didn't actually have the rotating thing in the data pack yet. It was still a command block over here. I just deactivated it to see if the rotation thing was what was causing it, but it does not look like it because it is still not coming towards the player. It's just staying there. I don't know why. I was kind of afraid of this. So adding lifetime is in the first boomerang function, which stops adding life once the boomerang start armor stand's deleted. And as you can see, the lifetime equals 51, which in the data pack, it has a lifetime of 52 or more. Now, the reason I have it like this is because I thought of using this number when I should have used this number, because at 51 exactly is when it teleports it directly where the other armor stand is. And sometimes I forget that there's no input lag, I guess, in data packs like there is with the actual command blocks in Minecraft. So honestly, technically we don't really need these, I don't think. It was usually just a precaution. So we want it to be 51, because it's not going to be any more than that, most likely. And technically we could just move this to the other thing, but why bother? Because we know it's going to be 51 exactly every time. But yeah, that should fix it for real this time. Okay. Work. No! Why did it just teleport to me instantly? What? That's not what I want. Alright, I spent so much time trying to figure that out, and I think it was a simple fix. I'll show it in a sec. Let's see if it works. So this guy's visible again. Okay, I think I figured it out. I figured out the last part. I got the main part figured out. So it was teleporting me to instantly there instead of gradually doing it because I didn't have it at the boomerang itself instead of me. So it kept teleporting the boomerang relative to me by this much. So I just needed it to be directed at the armor stand instead of me again. Now, the reason it was doing some other stuff was because I had the boomerang being killed first, so it wasn't doing any of this other stuff. Now I have it doing all this other stuff and then killing the player. So now it should work. This feels familiar, doesn't it? This time will be different. Oh god. That's freaky. Ah, it almost worked. Why didn't it kill it? Okay, I'm gonna consider that a success though, because killing it would probably be the easy part. So we're over here, and then it goes to the player. God, that is freaky. It'll probably be fast enough so it won't look that strange. Also, this is stupid. This is the reason why it wasn't killing the armor stand, is because it sets the lifetime to 0, and then it says if it's 25 or more, it'll kill it, but it's already at 0, which is dumb, because I don't need this thing at all, because once the armor stand's killed, obviously it doesn't have that score anymore, so it doesn't matter. I don't really know why that was there. Okay, I made quite a few adjustments to it. Nothing too big, pretty much the same ideas, just a little bit different so that things worked out better. Things now work pretty well. When it hits the ground, it comes straight back to the player. If not, it flies on through normally. If you throw it and you go away, it'll come back to you. And same thing for the ceiling. If it hits the ceiling, it should come back to you. Yeah. Huh. That's also an interesting thing, is like, if you throw it at something and it hits a wall on the way back, it goes straight back to you. I don't know if we can pull that off. I think we did actually there just then. Yeah, so instead of coming back to this point, if it hits the wall, it goes directly back to the player. Huh. Also, it's fun to, like, throw it around a type of thing. Woo! Alright, so that's part 1. I won't go through the part 2, just because it's basically what we just did, just a different thing, which is when you're crouching and you throw it, I want it to go straight and then around. I don't know how well this will work, because to know whether the player is crouching or not, you have to be crouching and then move a little bit. So I don't know how that'll work. We'll see. Alright, the second part is done. It was actually pretty easy compared to the other stuff. So here's the final bit of code. We'll try to condense it a little bit. So we got the top half, which is to test for if it will go into the second mode that I just created, which is if you're crouching and you throw the boomerang. And then the first one is, I'm pretty sure, the same as when we first edited it, which actually summons the armor stand. Then we have in this first one the same code right here, and then a second part. The only thing that's different about these is that it has the, unless the tag boomerang mode is on, it won't do this one, but if it does have the boomerang mode, it'll do this one. And then for boomerang 2, it's got this. Alright, the boomerang. Bam! Works like crazy. Let's show off the second mode. Go straight forward. Oh, it hit the ground. There we go. So if we want to go make it go directly towards an enemy, it'll go right there. And then if not, we can just throw it in a round circle. Nice. And then if we throw some rupees down, we can actually pick them up too. Nice. It's amazing. Now, I can't really show off too much of the damage type stuff because I haven't even actually met an enemy that takes damage from it, mostly just stuns. But once I get that, it'll probably just be shown at some point in a video. For now, it actually moves and works. So it's pretty much finished. Pretty amazing. I like how it has 2 modes. It was something I've been wanting to have for a long time, but when it was in the command block stage, it just wasn't going to be done. It was already laggy enough when it was in the command block stage for just doing this rotation. But yeah, also if it hits the ground, it does come back, ceiling or walls or anything. That time it managed to go all the way around. But yeah, it does come back if it hits the wall. And we can, as you saw from that roof thing, it went like around the thing. But we can make it go around pillars. And if we leave the area, it comes straight back to us after making its full cycle. That right there, it shows that it hits the wall. Let's see if we can get it to the wall and then come straight back. Run! But yeah, that is the boomerang. Hope you enjoyed. It looks really cool when you're holding it too.